Welcome to Old Trafford, where I have to tell you, I've done at least one lap of the stadium so far. It's on my steps for the day. I'm not going to do anything else. I've had some garlic bread, and it is the Betfred Women's Super League Grand Final, Betfred Men's Super League Grand Final. If you backed the 1-2 that the sponsors were offering on lasagna in the press room, well done. John's here, Phil's here. We're excited. The magazine's here because it is St Helens versus Leeds for the first time since 2011 in the Grand Final. Leeds always beat Saints in Grand Finals, Phil, so obviously that's what's going to happen this afternoon.
But Leeds haven't beaten Saints for 11 matches, so I think history probably goes out the window and you go more with the form of the teams of today. But Leeds have definitely got a puncher's chance. Saints rightly favourites.
John, who's going to win?
Yeah,
apart from rugby league, which is always the big one.
Always the winner. I think St Helens. That's because I've put a bet on, so I owe you at least £25.
Excellent. I'm just getting on Leeds.
No, I think as Phil said, is it 2018 the last time Leeds beat St Helens?
Yeah, 2018. 11 consecutive
so they're right
games.
for a win.
Yeah.
No, I think if you just look at St Helens, the way they play, the intensity, the line speed, the defence, I mean, you can't deny that having Morgan Knowles and Jack Wellesby is a huge boost. I think if both of those players were suspended, Leeds would have the advantage, but I think also Leeds missing Aiden Caesar, that's advantage to St Helens, so yeah, I think it's St Helens' victory, but miracles do happen, don't they, Phil? Especially from fifth.
I reckon it would be if Leeds were to win, considering where they were. But I do think the interesting thing is that Leeds are playing without pressure. And the only thing from watching Leeds over a number of years is that they are always a better team when they're the underdog. When they go into finals where they are expected to win, they tend to struggle more than when, enjoy it because you managed to get here. The first 20 minutes are going to be really, really interesting because we know Arsenal are going to come out like they did against Salford in the semi-final. We also know that Leeds' best 20 minutes of the season was when Catalan tried to do that to them in the first playoff game and Leeds stood up to them. So there are stories and intriguing matchups all over the place. Clearly Ash Hamley being back I think is massive for Leeds. We're talking about some of the players that aren't there, but he is 140 metres a game.
Do you think he's fully fit?
I don't think he'd be playing if he wasn't. I just think Rowan Smith is the kind of guy that isn't going to take a risk or a gamble like that. So,
but Chris Lambing does have a bit of a foot injury he's been carrying.
He's coming back from it, but I think he can still do a job in a limited space of time. So it will be incredibly interesting. And I think the great thing is both of these teams love to play.
Yes.
Their inherent philosophy is we will move the ball. So I think that whatever happens by way of the result, we should get a great spectacle.
We got here ridiculously early, but still there was a queue outside the press room because there always is, even though it didn't open until 3 o'clock. I've obviously just been round the other side of the stadium for the Women's Super League Awards and coming back. Thousands and thousands. I had to walk through all the Saints fans who are arriving here at Old Trafford. It sounds like there's going to be a big crowd. There's certainly a great atmosphere building up. And I know people say, Saints and Leeds in the Grand Final again, even though it's not, as we said, for the first time in however many years. But at least we know that both do bring plenty of fans and the atmosphere should be great come kick-off.
Can we find out who's sailors? Who's giving them out? Who should be
More
shot?
ones on the street who sell them. We need to talk to the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, if you're watching, former RFL president.
Former league president, wasn't he?
Yeah, so ban the people outside from A, vuvuzelas, and 2, half scarves.
Yeah.
We saw that.
So it's disgrace.
There needs to be an investigation into this, as Jeff Doobie would say.
We're going to get to the World Cup, and it's going to be the same for the final, where there's going to be the vuvuzela sellers.
That's a band name.
Fuzzy Zeller.
Great name for a band.
I think obviously he didn't win Young Player of the Year. One of his opponents went on, but Morgan Ganning is a big loss. I mean, a couple of years, maybe next year, but he will be playing for England. He's that good, and he's been huge for.
No, he has, and I think in terms of big bodies, which I think they're going to need,
he's a big body.
Sam Walters is not a bad replacement. So the matchups everywhere, stories everywhere. How fit is Will Hoppolata? Probably the same question as Ash Handley. Is John Bennison going to play on the wing or is he going to play at fullback? And what a great occasion for again a teenager who you wouldn't have thought would have been in the Saints lineup come a grand final. So
Well, you mentioned Walters. I mean, amazing thing with him and Jared O'Connor. They were witness players. Witness go bust. Gary Hamilton picks up the phone. I'll take those two players for cheap.
What's your tax bill?
And what was that? 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, and now they're playing in the grand final. And they're 2021, 22. A remarkable turn of events that sees them starring for Leeds. Not probably great if you're a Widnes fan, obviously, but yeah.
I think the other thing that's a topic of conversation at the moment is the two respective coaches. One is in his final game and is moving on and could go out as the first coach ever to win 3 consecutive grand finals. The other, who's only been here, a matter of months, and has taken a team of what looked like no hopers to within 80 minutes of lifting the trophy. So again, just stories everywhere.
Surely Liz Truss is going to crack down on these foreigners coming in and taking all the jobs.
She's a Leeds fan as well. She's Leeds.
Hates Leeds.
What do you mean?
Hates Roundhay.
Foreigners coming over taking jobs.
I know. I'm not taking anyone's job. His job was vacant.
There's money in freelance rugby league people.
Yeah, exactly. That requires payment.
When I spoke to Lois Fussell a few months ago, which will be up on YouTube later, she didn't mention Connie Winfield being Australian. I thought, should I correct her? Because she is English now.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
I listened to another, rival podcast on the way here, the BBC. She sings both anthems when she watches the Ashes. Is that loud? That's surely.
We're very much a rival podcast. We're not. We never claimed to be on rival. When we were at Radio Yorkshire, we had jingles made especially.
I think there needs to be a rugby league podcast sort of meeting, much like an Anchorman, where they all fight off and have that bloodbath. The rival news.
Yeah, but I've got a dodgy ankle. So I can't do it.
We'll bring Sco in for that. He's got those shoulders of steel.
He can't fight.
Well, with one eye, I guess he's going to struggle. Yeah.
I'm excited for the game. I mean, I was excited this morning, so I couldn't sleep last night. But that's insomnia.
That was just with the prospect of having the sun.
I couldn't sleep last night either because I've been watching that Jeffrey Dahmer series. No, seriously, that's scary. But anyway,
Carsten's in the chat. Hi, Carsten. From Switzerland, Germany.
He's still recovering from his
that's
his
what he
Cowboys.
said. Good evening, gents. I just hope for a good game as I'm still drying up my tears after the Cowboys loss. So the winner of this, of course, gets to play the winner of the NOL Grand Final and a made-up date and a made-up place. Well,
that's actually what I was thinking.
It's the World Cup.
Has an agreement even been reached?
Well, maybe that's going to come out on Wednesday with IMG.
Here's the thing. Ralph Rimmer, who did a speech over the other side of the stadium, I think I was the only media person in the room. So, exclusive quote from Ralph Rimmer. He thinks Wednesday's IMG thing will go down in history. He said, and I don't want to get the quote wrong, but the 3 dates we'll talk about, 1895, 1996, 2022.
He's written that in the magazine.
Oh, there you go. I should have read it, shouldn't I? But
he's just trotting out his own quotes again. Mission accomplished.
Giddy Ralph Rimmer said, he's excited. He's excited.
He's an excitable chap.
I'm excited.
So, Paul,
but I'm excited for the next 80 minutes.
Who's going to win?
Genuinely don't know. I can make a case for both teams. I think the way Leeds have played in the 2 playoff games, you would be foolish to write them off, even though they are clearly underdogs. But this Saints team knows how to win a grand final. And they've won a grand final in circumstances where it looked like they'd lost a grand final. So you can't write them off either. I think I don't know. I just think we're in for a bit of a treat.
What's Scott doing? Is he launching a book?
He's just done a book launch.
He must have done. Have you just done a book launch, Steve? Come and join us. Where's he going?
He doesn't want a part of
He
it.
doesn't want to be on the internet. Come to you, Saint, says Jeff. Excitement. I'm excited. Everyone's excited. We're looking forward to the entertainment, which is a DJ. We need to.
I will never question a DJ again, and now abuse the Morrison.
Well,
I mean, what's going to count more? The 11 games that Saints have won in a row against Leeds, and they know they've got their number, or is it going to be the 4 times they've met in a grand final, where Saints have been favourite for at least 3 of those, but haven't been able to do the job? I mean, there are 4 players in that Saints team that played in the 2011 grand final. There's 1 in the Leeds team. Will it have any bearing whatsoever?
Who is that one in the Leeds team?
Saka.
All right, and he arguably shouldn't have. Well, didn't start the season with Leeds, so yeah.
It's just interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely.
There's so many unknowns.
I think
it's worth watching.
I mean, I think generally finals tend to throw out amazing games, so that's what we're hoping for, and not decided perhaps by a 50-50 call, which seems to be a lot of games lately in either hemisphere.
You think Morgan Knowles might get booed by the general public?
I tell you what, Leeds Rhinos got booed for winning the Super League over the other side of the room. They're not very popular, apparently. It's disappointing. But Morgan Knowles, anyway, he's going to win the House of Trophy. He knows I can't make it.
I mean, I'll be voting for him. Yeah. Well, actually, I'll be voting for Joe Batchelor and Mark Percival because I've got them for any time try scorer, but that's a different story.
Well, I mean, even the Batchelor Bentley story is a great story.
Yeah. Will James Bentley keep his head?
Well, he has in the last 2 games under extreme provocation. He's been
2 games?
No, but 2 games where you would
Yes,
think that if he was going to be put under pressure, he has been the cool head in those playoff games that have set the league.
Could be wrong, but I think the last time they played St Helens, he got a yellow card.
I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Yeah.
I think they also went into those games knowing they weren't good enough to beat St Helens. The one thing I think they will have this time is a belief that because they've got there, they could finish the job.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing, and obviously I've interviewed during the week, sort of trying to compare this St Helens side to the great Wigan teams, the Huddersfield team of pre-World War I, some of the great teams in Australia. I don't think they get that much respect, maybe because they're a defensive team, because they win the wrestle, it's about their line speed and intensity. They're not great entertainers, but they win. I mean, at the end of the day, whether they entertain you, whether it's showtime or not.
With some of the players they've got, the likes of Tommy Pickles, as good as anyone that I've seen. You know, to say they're not entertainers when he's in the team, they clearly are.
But they don't, I mean...
They don't get the general
from across the whole sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I find that a little bit odd, perhaps.
Well, maybe they will, if they win tonight, maybe they will. Because nobody's done 4-0.
People say that, you know, they've not beaten anyone, but they only play who's there.
They've gone, what, over 1,000 days as champions? That's just phenomenal.
Well, it's a good
But
start.
now the neutrals like Leeds because of the Morgan Knowles thing.
And that's certainly
Controversy, I believe.
It's like when earlier in the season when I interviewed Liam Farrell ahead of the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup, I said, people like Wigan now, what's it feel like? It's a strange feeling. James Bentley, yellow or red card, says Jeff. He's either going to get sent off or win. Score a hat-trick or
No one gets sent off.
Apart from Ben Farrell.
He's the asterisk.
It'd be really interesting if anybody tries to exert a chicken tackle on anyone this afternoon. Because,
What is a chicken wing?
Because clearly the definition of that has been sullied somewhat. But it's all narrative. And the great thing that you want from a game like this is loads of stories, and whoever wins, there's loads of great stories.
And because it's not raining, does that give sense advantage?
Yeah.
It's remarkably warm.
I know.
Yeah, beautiful conditions, no rain. Trevor Hunt's dressed up. It's a crazy world.
I tell you what, there was no more disappointing people. Whatever happens at the end of 80 minutes today, there was no more disappointing group of people in this stadium than about an hour ago when the Wakefield and Trinity ladies were told the free bar had closed. Because I was slightly concerned, because I don't know how much profit the RFL have made this year.
It's gone.
Those Wakefield girls, they can put it away. Back them next year. They don't know what league they're in next year.
No free bar at Man of Steel, but they've got a free bar here. That's just...
Yeah, but they're players. They're the women. They're the superstars of women. They don't get paid. So they might as well get some.
And also, can we add that photo in? Terry O'Connor looking like a stunned mullet.
Is that Jared O'Connor's dad?
It is. Yeah, it's Jared Senior. When he had hair.
Another great story. You've got James Roby, the goat of modern hooking, against Jared O'Connor, who at the start of the season wasn't even a hooker.
Brilliant. What's Terry O'Connor then go to? I was going to ask that. What's he said?
Jared O'Connor grew up as a St Helens fan. John Wilkin was his hero.
Well, you can grow out of stuff.
Club,
Yes.
Wigan Warriors, country, Ireland. Player tip, says, we assume Terry, it's like when Scotty did those tackling tips in the Rugby League Annual. Never give up on any play, any tackle, or any chase when playing Rugby League. That's what Terry O'Connor says. And he's on the telly. He's on the telly, so he must know. We have to go and find our seats.
I'm going to pretend to do some